Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and yes, so much juiciness. In this video, it's gonna be more new spring candles, plus a whole boatload of 75% off candles that I had no business buying. But you guys know, when it's 75% off candles, it's like, you know, just put it in the bag, just put it in the bag. So that's what we did. So we have a spring haul plus SAS haul, and there's gonna be a lot of stuff, so sit tight, and yeah. Okay, let's see. We'll do the spring stuff first, and then do the SAS stuff. So I was on the hunt for more spring stuff, and so here we have that. The first one we have is Garden Weather. Oh my god, look at how cute this packaging is. I friggin' love it. With the wraparound floral and the wax peeking through, and then the medallion in the middle, and the cute little snail icon, and the juicy lid on there as well. I was glad there's at least one new fragrance in this collection, because then it would give me a reason to buy something with this packaging on it. Almond Croissant is also in this collection, so I would maybe pick up a second version of that, but it had the thick rope-like wicks on it, so it's probably gonna get like super nasty and sooty and like burnt and grody smelling like last year's did, that I'm not sure I would, but the packaging is just so cute on it. But in any case, we already talked about the other ones. Fresh cut lilacs is in there, flower child, bergamot, and birch. And then we have Garden Weather here. Wild Nectar, Honeydew, Melon, and Green Apple, $26.95. It has like a blue wax with thick rope-like wicks on it, and that's what that looks like. And yeah, I would say you definitely get a planty melon, but I do get almost a citrus ozone quality to it that kind of reminds me more of like, so like sometimes they'll say spring air or like coastal air or like sea breeze. There's almost like a slightly salty, citrus leaning ozone quality to it that is giving that sort of spring air quality mixed with a sweet melon and sure enough an apple in there as well. And yeah, it's like a melon apple ozone fragrance is pretty much how it comes off as. Like this could be like a coastal melon fragrance, and like it would also kind of work too. What we had, coastal watermelon, right? Kind of the similar like coastal sort of salty air action that you got in the coastal watermelon, but it's not as like Jolly Rancher watermelon. It's just more like a honeydew melon mixed with a green apple. And yeah, we'll see. It's like a predominantly fruity fragrance made a little bit more outdoorsy. And that is Garden Weather right there. I don't know. I guess Garden Weather, would I expect something a little bit more, like this isn't overly floral. Would I maybe expect something more on the nose floral? Because like if you walk into a garden and you're gardening, you would smell more of like a dirt, soil, grass, or like spring bulb florals. Like think of the spring fragrance that we've had from years past would make like a good Garden Weather fragrance. Yeah, okay, I don't know. We'll see. Garden Weather right there. Super cute packaging though. I mean, the name and the concept and the packaging was what sold me on it, so yeah. The next one we have is White Iris in Cedarwood, and that's what that looks like right here. I love like the pistachio green color on this. Ironically, this gets the pistachio green, and then pistachio milk and honey gets like a pale milk color. Yeah. Iris petals, warm cedarwood, and fresh bergamot. I actually did burn this one already. It wasn't a hotel room though. In a hotel room, it was very light to medium, so that doesn't bode well for it, but I'll reserve judgment until I burn it in my usual environment. Yeah. So this is something that's been out in hand soap a few times, and maybe a wallflower as well. And I picked up the hand soap and I didn't love it. But then I was like, you know what? It's out in a candle form. Like I gotta just try it and see how it goes. And this is pretty much Kaleidoscope, which was a like dupe or inspired fragrance of the Glossier You perfume, which also has like a iris and pink pepper note or something like that in there. It's a fragrance that's supposed to be made up of just predominantly base notes rather than top and middle notes. So then it's supposed to somehow like infuse with your skin chemistry and give you a unique fragrance that's like supposed to be you and tailored to you. And so the base notes, I guess, give like a more of a blank slate or palette to mix with your body chemistry to evoke a fragrance that's more unique to you. I don't really, that's the marketing behind it, but what's interesting is Kaleidoscope also like, I think uses the word like you in there, like in all caps or something, in the description, and also has pretty much the same concept as that fragrance. And then Kaleidoscope only came out that one time, right? There was something weird with Kaleidoscope where it wasn't like limited formats, but then it came out again during SAS or something like that. I don't quite remember, but there was Kaleidoscope, but then it got discontinued and it was gone, and that was the end of it. I hated that shower gel. It was so like, I don't know, weak and just like weird, and it just kind of smelled like mold, and I didn't really care for it. And when I smelled this, I was like, oh my God, this immediately takes me back to the scent memory of like something smelling like mold, and this is indeed that same like Kaleidoscope fragrance. So if you liked Kaleidoscope, this is like presumably that in a 3-wick format. So check this out. But yeah, there's something moldy about it to me. It smells like paper and mold. I guess it's just like that sort of like dry woodsy fragrance mixed with a bland iris petal floral. I mean, I do have to say it's actually quite similar to Book Loft in that same sort of dusty, papery way, in the same way I mentioned like moldy paper. Like imagine Book Loft is more like a dusty paper fragrance that's made a little bit more prettier in, you know, fantasy. It does resemble a Book Loft type of experience for sure, but it's just a little bit more stripped down and just smells more moldy to me. But this, it does indeed smell like that Kaleidoscope fragrance, but it also reminds me heaps of remember there was that like, the two vanilla, there was like a vanilla bourbon or something like that, and then a sweet vanilla blossoms or fresh vanilla blossoms. Was it fresh vanilla blossoms? It was like in like some marble label packaging, and there were like two fragrances that was like a vanilla release, and there was fresh vanilla blossoms, and it reminds me a whole lot of the moldiness of fresh vanilla blossoms too, but I think fresh vanilla blossoms just had a little bit more of a sweet vanilla aspect to it to take off that sort of like moldy paper dryness that you're getting from here, but very reminiscent of fresh vanilla blossoms. And I actually really ended up warming up to that fragrance and liking it. And so when I smell this, while I do smell moldy paper, I also still get some traces of that fresh vanilla blossoms body care fragrance or whatever that I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know, I can kind of get on board with it. But yeah, I would say it's in that category of Book Loft, where it's like that sort of like base notes type of fragrance that's just made a little bit prettier by just a very like bland floral. But yeah, long story short, it's Kaleidoscope, or that dupe of the You fragrance. White Iris and Cedarwood right here. So the next one we have is Pistachio Milk and Honey, and that's what that looks like right there. Toasted pistachio, cozy shea butter, and whipped vanilla musk. And this is the test fragrance I've tested, I think, in a single wick and a wallflower in those test regions that test the single wicks and the wallflowers, I think like the Nashville area or whatever. And it's funny because the wallflower, well, I'll just show you. I did pick it up during the SAS or whatever. It came out for SAS for us to purchase nationwide for the first time. And it's funny because the signage in store says that this fragrance is most loved. But it's like, how can this fragrance be most loved if it hasn't even been out nationwide and this is the first time that we can all purchase it? So like, does it mean it was most loved during the test phase and that's why they put that on there? Or is it just utter marketing BS? I don't know, but it was just super weird to see that, because I was like, how can this be most loved when it's the first time it's ever been introduced to the nationwide, you know, public. But in any case, pistachio milk and honey. Yeah, let's see. Thick rope-like wicks, white wax. And yeah, this is nice. Ooh, yeah, it definitely has a nutty pistachio quality to it. And then it has a milky, warm honey undertone. And that sort of honey milkiness has a slight inedible body care sort of blossomy floral quality to it that's not quite fully edible. Think of kind of like the whipped honey and vanilla, which was very similar to Vanilla Coconut Surf, which is now out as Vanilla Coconut in that Dreamscapes collection. Think of that type of sort of floral, warm honey vanilla fragrance that you're getting in there that's slightly inedible and has a perfumey quality to it. It's that mixed with pistachio. But yeah, it gives it that sort of like cozy shea butter type of feel that you expect from like a shea butter lotion or something like that, you know, or something that has like a milk and honey type of flavor to it. Think of like the milk and honey like hand soaps that you get, like that type of creamy warmth is definitely in there, and it's like cozy and comforting, which I enjoy. Yeah, it's quite pretty. I like it. but there's still enough of a gourmand quality coming from both the milk honey and the pistachio. But it's like sort of sophisticated and nice, and I enjoy it. I really look forward to burning this one. And so that was the pistachio milk and honey. Comparing it to the other like obvious pistachio fragrance, we have pistachio and toasted vanilla. Oh my gosh, so strong and intense, right? Salted pistachios, toasted vanilla almonds with natural essential oils. This one, I would say, is more salty, more obviously like nutty pistachio gourmand. More salty and a little bit more toasted. Yeah, I would say this one's a little bit more, I don't know, creamy and pretty. And this one's a little bit more warm and nutty in like a kind of foodie type of way. But yeah, so it is not this, however. So pistachio and toasted vanilla right there in comparison to the pistachio milk and honey. Okay, let's see what else was going on. A first date was available, but I didn't pick it up. It was like some bergamot and cozy vanilla musk or something, and amber, which didn't really give you a lot, but very much in that mature, luminous, dime a dozen Bath & Body Works body care fragrance. That's actually not very far off from blush amber and peony as well. That like purple body care fragrance that we kind of get from Bath & Body Works, you know what I'm talking about, is very much that is what first date was. Let's see, anything else? I couldn't locate sugar jasmine yet. I was like, oh, I just want to get that. I did smell the wallflower though, and it was, my thoughts remained the same as the sugar jasmine that I had in the hand so previously. And then let's see, self-care Sunday or something, which is the lemon and mint one. I could not locate that one either, so I didn't get that. And I think that kind of wraps up the spring newness. There also have been like some tropical packaging candles surfacing as well, but I think the usual boring like Waikiki Beach Coconut Island Margarita Pink Pineapple Sunrise type of situation, so nothing interesting as of yet on the tropical front, but that should be coming soon as well. There's like single wicks along with it. Okay, I think that's the end of the spring talk. And now let us get into the heaps of 75% off candles. Oh my god. So let's see. I was traveling this week and over the weekend and everything. I'm finally here, obviously at home. And I went to my gold mine location. And I was like, you know what? They had so many 75% off candles last SAS. They're bound to have more. And sure enough, there was like tables and tables of 75% off candles. I was like, oh, I wish I could have made it on the first day, but I was out of town, so I could not get to that store on the first day. But all well enough, because I really don't need 75% off candles. But when you see 75% off candles, it's like, even if it doesn't smell that good, like everything smells better and everything just seems better when it's 75% off. And there's just like, I don't, like, does it get better than 75% off candles? Like, I feel like it doesn't. Like, that is like the gold mine or the jackpot that you are looking for during SAS is 75% off 3-wick candles. Like, that is what all of us candle collectors look for. And it's like, when you see it, you feel obligated to buy it. I mean, I feel like such a consumerist, just like, you know, hyping up the consumerist machine of SAS and sales and stuff. But you only live once, so it is what it is. But in any case, I don't need to justify my 75% off purchases, so I'm just going to dig right into it. I had a 10 off 40 coupon, plus I got a gift card for Christmas, so it made the deal even sweeter. Okay, so the first one, I was like, you know what, if I came across this one again, and if it happened to be 75% off, I would kind of get it, and it's Brightest Bloom. So this got just like lost in the shuffle. I was just like quite busy during this like time frame when this first released, and there was like travel associated and stuff, that it just like, this got kind of swept under the rug. But I bought the shower gel or Redeem a Reward on it like rather recently, and I was like, wow, I actually kind of like this. Like, this is a really like nice like high-end floral perfume fragrance that I was like, I feel like I didn't really give the candle the justice it deserved. I kind of wrote it off as being a sunshine and daffodils adjacent fragrance, which it still is, but I was like, you know what, if I see another one, I kind of want to pick one up, and for 75% off, put it in the bag. So we got another Brightest Bloom right here. This is that whole jasmine sambac thing with Lila Valley, garden carnations, and fresh cedarwood. Coral wicks, white wax, as you can see right there. Yeah, just a fresh, kind of dewy spring floral that has definitely a very perfumey body care quality to it, but it smells quite high end. That I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if this was some kind of trickle down or inspiration from some high end thing. But Brightest Bloom right there. So it's like, okay, I'll get this one. And the packaging is so beautiful on it. This is another one where it's like I normally would never buy this, but for 75% off, you entertain candles that you normally wouldn't buy. And so Warm Ocean Breeze right here. Sometimes like during the 75% off like scores, I will just get a candle that I always sniff in store and I pick up like a gajillions of times, but I just never pull the trigger on it. I just never buy it. And I'm like, you know what? For 75% off, this is the time when I do that. And this is like Warm Ocean Breeze has been out forever, but I've never owned it. Ocean Sandalwood, Warm Sage, and Eucalyptus Zest. Let's see, white wax and thick rope like wicks. Yeah. It's like kind of a zesty lemon, or what is it? I doesn't even say what citrus it is. There's definitely citrus in here. It's like citrus and like a woodsy quality to it. It kind of goes in a like very natural cologne, masculine leaning route where, yeah, it's like a woodsy, outdoorsy fragrance that is brightened by a like zesty citrus to evoke that sort of oceanic, aquatic ozone quality that I was just referencing earlier in the video. It's not something I would normally gravitate towards, but I'm just like, I don't know, I always sniff this one and I've never picked it up, so I'm just gonna try it and see how it goes. So Warm Ocean Breeze right there. We then have White Tea and Sage from the Neutrals line. This was also 75% off. This is something I've smelled a million times in store and I just never pick up. And this is the first time owning it. Sparkling Bergamot, White Tea, and Fresh Sage. Sure enough, it has that very like distinct bergamot tea quality to it with a sort of herbal sage quality that gives it that sort of like spa hotel lobby moment is kind of what this gives. I've just never owned it. Once again, it's more of that sort of fresh, clean quality that's like not totally up my alley, but for 75% off, put it in the bag. So White Tea and Sage right there. We'll see how this goes. This has been out forever too, and I just never picked it up. Moving on, I actually end up exchanging off that Springtime in Paris that's in that beautiful new packaging for one of the newer spring candles, and so I don't have that in my possession anymore. But then I came across this equally beautiful Springtime in Paris from last year for 75% off, so I was like, you know what, put it in the bag. So we had those beautiful like greenhouse like painted panels or whatever. Oh my god, I forgot how beautiful this collection was. I don't know if I bought a single one in this collection because they were all repackages. Soft Peach, Lotus Blossom, and Fresh Bergamot. This one, however, is unfortunately the thick rope-like wick version, which is similar to the one that I had initially that dudded out and got super grody and murky and nasty mid-range. And I was looking forward to bringing the new one because it has core wicks on it, but for 75% off, like, I'll get this one versus the other spring one. So yeah, Springtime in Paris right here. I just talked about this. I'm not gonna really go into it. It's like a fruity floral. Moving on, we have another single fragrance launch. We have Tropidelic, which this one is, like, I love the fragrance and it's beautiful, but the throw on it leaves quite a bit to be desired. That's very much just like a bedroom fragrance, and that is it. And it's Irresistible Passion Flower, Ylang Ylang, and Misty Rainforest. Thick rope like wicks, white wax. Yeah. It's a beautiful fragrance. Like, the shower gel is gorgeous and nice, and I really enjoy it. It's just another one in that run of like their Solar Floral for Summertime single fragrance launch slot of like Hibiscus Paradise, then Cocoa Paradise, and now we have Tropidelic. It's very much that like tropical, like spring break, summer vacation Solar Floral fragrance that we've been getting a lot, and that's actually one of my very favorite fragrance categories. But yeah, it was just that this candle wasn't very strong, but for 75% off, put it in the bag. We'll just deal with it. And the thing is, like, I always want to burn this, but I collect body care candles, and so I don't like burning them, as like ridiculous as that sounds. But like now I'm like, okay, you know what? I can burn that one with Reckless Abandon and just still have this one in back stock because I truly do love this type of fragrance. And especially now that we're getting into like the really nasty, dreary, gloomy, like January, February months of winter time, this might be a nice pick me up. So Tropidelic right there. Moving on with more 75% off action. I really wanted a mahogany coconut, but I didn't want it in that grody ass candle day packaging with like pink pineapple sunrise and island margarita. It was like that neon dreaming of sunshine packaging. And this one showed up, which I think is from last spring for 75% off at one of the SAS stores. That I was like, you know what, for 75% off, this is my chance to finally get mahogany coconut in a non-grody packaging. Creamy coconut, mahogany woods, and English lavender. It has Coral Wicks white wax on it. I think the last mahogany coconut I had was this like beautiful like blue hibiscus wraparound packaging, and it performed flawlessly. It was great, it was strong and awesome. I think it dudded out mid-range, but then auto-corrected and got very strong. But I want to say, I thought I heard reports of people saying that this one was weak, so we'll have to see. But I actually do really love mahogany coconut, and that body care when it came out that one year was so friggin' snatched. Oh my god. It's like this beautiful, like it has that mahogany teakwood base in it, but it has like this sort of floral coconut sandalwood undertone. It had that sort of like sun-soaked quality to it, or like a sun-soaked sandalwood. I think there was that candle that one time before. Like sun-soaked sandalwood mixed with coconut mixed with mahogany teakwood and merged all those together. And it's just beautiful and gorgeous. And I friggin', this is probably my favorite like mahogany blend, which, oh my god, if you didn't see my Instagram story, there's a new mahogany mashup on the horizon. Only one store had it out early, and it's mahogany lilac. Unfortunately, it seems to be only coming out in a wallflower at the current moment, but sure enough, it smells like mahogany teakwood mixed with fresh cut lilacs, which sounds so whack and weird, and like, why would you do that? But there's something just like weird and like fun about the mahogany mashups that I'm like, I kind of would like entertain this on like a wallflower sale day or whatever, but I wish there was a 3-wick and I would snatch that up. But mahogany lilac is also coming. But in any case, we have mahogany coconut, and I've been just like been jonesing for this candle, but I was just like waiting for the perfect opportunity, and for 75% off, put in the bag. So we have mahogany coconut right there. I think that was it for the 75% off candles. How many? I think that was 6 of them. And then at one store that had the majority of the 75% off candles I wanted, I had to get to $40 to use my 10 off. And so I had to add something, and they didn't have any other 75% off candles that I wanted. I was at like $33 or something like that. So I had to add a $10.95 one, and they had this entire floor set of these candles still available for $10.95. So I was like, you know what? Let me get this and call it a day to finish off the 10 off 40. We have Bronze Sunset, which I think I had in the original packaging, and I really enjoyed it. It's actually yet another solar floral fragrance that's very much in the realm of your like hibiscus paradise, cocoa paradise, tropidelic fragrance, but slightly different. Exotic coconut, island waves, and soft musk. I've had this one before, Coral Wicks white wax. Not this packaging, but the original one, and I actually really enjoyed it. Yeah, if you like Cocoa Paradise or Hibiscus Paradise, it's not exactly it, but very much that sort of coconut solar floral quality to it. I have to say, this is probably I just really don't care for this packaging. It's like trying to look realistic in like a terracotta pottery type of way, or whatever this kind of pottery is, but it also looks cartoony and like gimmicky at the same time. That I don't know. But I don't know, it exists. Beautiful fragrance though, so we got that. Okay, that was it for the SAS candle action. Then we just have a few knickknacks. This was at the non-75% off stores, I think on the very first day that I went. I was like, this SAS kind of blows, there's nothing to get. But of course, the 75% off stuff made up for it a few days later. But friggin', they get me with the wallflowers. It's like, I have no business pumping VOCs into my house 24/7. And so when I do use a wallflower, I put it on the opposite side of the room from where I'm sleeping, in like a office room that's like not highly trafficked, just so I can like smell it if I want to when I'm walking by the room, but it's like not suffocating me with VOCs 24/7 like in my bedroom or something. And so the thing is, I really don't use wallflowers except for that single room. And Bath & Body Works keep putting out so many amazing, awesome, like wallflower fragrances, and oftentimes they are now doing wallflower exclusive fragrances, and it's just like, oh my god, like I still want to smell these fragrances, but I'm gonna have to use it in a wallflower format. So I was like, you know what, for $2.99, let me just buy a few of them. So we of course have the Pistachio Milk and Honey that is coming out newly for springtime, but we got it as a wallflower during SAS. Same notes as before, so I don't need to go into it. Speaking of solar floral summer fragrances, I freaking love Cocoa Paradise. Amazing. I feel like this would also be a great pick-me-up in those winter months. So we got Cocoa Paradise. Smells just like the body care and the single fragrance launch we had before. Salted Coconut Manoi, Sugar Neroli, and Bronze Sandalwood. Oh, it just makes me want to be at the beach. This is amazing in Wallflower Pink Lavender and Espresso. It's once again very similar to Lavender Marshmallow, but slightly different with that sort of like caramelized brown sugar note that evokes a more gourmand espresso quality to it. But it's just absolutely gorgeous in a wallflower that I had to get it again. So we have that right there. Okay. And then I don't recommend, actually, you know what, you can do whatever you want with your rewards, but like sometimes I feel like I shouldn't redeem a reward on a wallflower because it's only like $7.95 or whatever. But like, does a shower gel, when I already have like 200 of them in my possession, actually provide more value if I buy a 200 and the next one, like 201? Like, does that one provide more value than the rest of the shower gels? No. I feel like if I really want a wallflower, I guess I would get more value out of redeeming reward on that than on yet another shower gel. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna redeem a reward on a wallflower, and I really wanted sheer rose just because you guys know I just freaking love rose fragrances. So I got that. I plugged this in for a few days and it's absolutely freaking gorgeous. Rose water, peony petals, and morning dew. It's like a very beautiful high-end rose type of fragrance. Smells very much like a rose perfume, but it still has a freshness or a uplifting quality to it that's in the vein of like rose water and ivy. Similar to Perfect Peony, also similar to Winter Rose or Blushing Pink Rose petals that we've had in the past before. Just an awesome quality, perfumey but fresh rose fragrance that was just simply excellent. So actually happy to have that. So sheer rose right there. And then lastly, I think some $2.99 hand soaps. I came across this at one store. There was a lone one, and I never found this anywhere in my local region that I was like, oh, let me just grab it. And it has the cute critters on it, and that's cranberry vanilla creme. This is bright cranberry, red apple, and vanilla creme. It's a really nice, creamy, sort of warm cranberry fragrance that's like very much just a vanilla cream rather than it being like overly gourmand in a cookie or a bakery way. And I like that it's just a plain cranberry vanilla fragrance, and it's actually quite juicy and nice. Not super strong, but you know, it's still good enough. So cranberry vanilla creme right there. And then lastly, I actually really have grown to enjoy this. It's like basically bubbly rosé without that disgusting, overly synthetic jet fuel quality that bubbly rosé has, and that's the Emily in Paris Champagne in Paris. This is the Champagne Spritz Elderberry Fizz and Lily of the Valley. Super juicy, fruity, sort of champagne fragrance, and once again, very similar bubbly rosé without it being nasty, and so I wanted that in hand soap, and it smells great, so there was that. And whew, I feel like I talked my butt off. I think that is it. Let me know if you found any 75% off juiciness, or if you're bored with SAS, let me know all the thoughts down below. I'm super excited to get into the spring candles and start reviewing them, so I'll do those as time permits, and I think that's pretty much it. Hope everyone had a happy holiday and have a happy new year as well, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.